Hi everyone, here is my review of the Nikon sb-900 flash. The Nikon sb-900 is the top flash that you get from Nikon as of, what's the date? This is still 2010. 2011 it'll probably still be the number one flash you can get from Nikon. There's a new one which is coming out, which is the sb-700, but that's a slightly lower version than this. It probably has all the same functions, but maybe just not quite as powerful. This flash is absolutely adequate for all my needs. I've done loads of photo shoots where I've used this. I've even stuck it into umbrellas, I've stuck it into Orbis ring flashes, and I've never thought I need more power. I've needed more flashes, so I've had other ones maybe doing it from behind for the cross light effect, but so far I haven't needed like a studio light or a more powerful flash. Now this flash has got a couple of cool things about it, and one of the things is its zoom ability. You can zoom this flash from what it says from 10mm to 200mm, and whenever you zoom it in, the bright metal part of the flash goes further back in, so it becomes a bit like a tunnel. And so that means if you have any gels on the front and you have it zoomed in, then they're not going to melt. Unless you're doing it at full power and it's at 10mm, where the lightning bit is right at the front, then you're likely to melt something on the front, if it melts. It takes 4 batteries, and from the batteries I use rechargeable ones, and they're usually around about 2600 mAh. Don't know what that stands for. Milliamp hours, mAh, maybe that's what it is. I can easily do a shoot where I'm taking nearly 500 photos. Okay, not 500 full power photos, but 500 photos where it's using it on TTL or maybe around about, quarter power. No problem whatsoever. Also, in all the shoots that I've done, where I'm doing modelling shoots or even some of the sports shoots, I've never had it heat up on me. It's only ever shown the heating up problem, where it cuts itself off and doesn't let you fire any more flashes, whenever I've been doing some of the stupid flash tests, where I'm actually trying to find out how many flashes it takes before it heats up. In actual everyday use, it's only ever happened to me once, and that was at a red carpet ceremony where all the celebrities were coming into Edinburgh, and there's all these big paparazzi, so I was trying to be a paparazzi with this. The cool thing is you can actually turn that off, and it's meant to be the same with the sb-800 and possibly the sb-700, that it's not actually doing anything different from what those do, it just tells you that it's heating up. The other flashes will heat up and they may get damaged. This one will heat up, but it will tell you so it doesn't get damaged. You can turn it off so that you can just keep on shooting, but you've obviously got to be a bit worried or a bit nervous in case you do damage the flash. It's got a whole bunch of modes. It's got repeated, never use that. Manual, use that. Guide number, don't really use that. Guide number on this is around about 38 or 46, depending on which ISO and which zoom you have. It's very confusing trying to discover how bright or how powerful a flash is, especially when you're talking about these, because they can zoom. You can change the ISO really easily, and also there's another thing where you can change the patterning of the light that comes out. Here's some photos which I did earlier in my room, and the first shot was just with the flash with nothing on it on my Nikon fisheye lens. And here you can see there's a total vignette around the corners, but that's about as best you can get from any sort of flash on top of that. If I wanted a better effect, I would bounce it off the roof. Okay, and so that was it in a standard pattern. The next shot I did in an even pattern, so that's meant to kind of give you a little bit of a better colour around, or better light around the sides. Don't really notice that. And then the last one is the centre weighted, so that's almost like it's giving itself a little zoom, but it's still meant to be at the same zoom position. The problem with the centre weighted one is that whenever you try to zoom that in, the most you can do is take it to 85mm. So if you want to zoom it out to 200mm, then you have to put it back to its even or standard distribution. And as you can see, the standard distribution at 85mm is a little bit wider. You cover a bit more area than the centre weighted, but you can zoom it in to 200mm. So pretty much it seems like everything from 80 to 200, there's not a huge amount of a difference of where the light is actually going. The next thing is you've got a little built-in diffuser with a bounce card on it, I don't really use the bounce car too much, but the built-in diffuser gives it a little bit of a wider look as well. So again, with this fisheye, we're getting right up to the corners, and that's looking pretty good, but you can make it one bit better by adding on the diffusion dome. And that, as you can see in this photo, it's covered pretty much everything. Very impressive amount of spray of light there. Especially when you consider it's on a fisheye lens. Price wise, this is going around about £300 to £350 depending on what package you buy it with. That's actually quite expensive. I will fully admit that you can buy a home studio kit with 2 lights and umbrellas and stands for that price, but they are nothing compared to this. This is a full-on NASA spaceship kind of amount of technology that's in this. Maybe NASA spaceship isn't the best example. Get the autofocus assistant lamps to come on, which are these things, which give a cool pattern against whatever you're shooting. You need to do 2 things, and they're on your camera. First of all, you need to make sure that your shooting mode is not on manual or on continuous. It should be on single. And that's it. Make sure that the different types of areas that you have here depend on how many lights come on. So if you have it on the single spot here, you'll see only one comes on. There. And if you have it there, still the one. And if you have it on the full, every little bit to come on, then all of them will come on like that. And this is what the pattern looks like on the wall. Okay, so now we're in a fairly dark area, and if we try and get the flash to focus, there you see it's doing this massive thing all over there. It's kind of like lasers coming out. And that's it with it on the full square. If you have it on the single square, this is what it looks like. Like that. Full square, like that. Huge pattern, huge pattern. You can use this as a commander flash, so you can control 3 groups of different flashes. So if you have, let's say you've got 6 flashes. 2 of them are over to the left, 2 of them are over there, and 2 of them are right behind the person. And then what you can do is you can say, I want that to be half power, I want that to be on full power, and I want those to be on an 1/8 power. And then all you need to do is go photo. And that will somehow tell everyone with the creative light system, the CLS, built into this. It will send out all the information to all these flashes, and they will do exactly what it tells it to do. You can also do that with the sb-900 and also the sb-900, which is coming out. Like all these flashes, it also has an SU4 mode, which means you can use it as a normal studio flash. So any flash can set this off. So you can put it anywhere and it will make it fire. The only thing is then you have to go along and change the manual settings all the time. Another thing is that it has this FP mode, or focal plane or flash power. It controls it all, in the fact that it can go faster than your sync speed. So the sync speed on a camera is whenever you take a photo, the first part of the shutter goes up, and then it takes a photo for the second, and then whenever it's closing, it doesn't come back down, the next bit goes back up. So it goes open, open, and then it comes completely down, open, then open. And once you get beyond 250th of a second, where it's going really quickly, what starts to happen is as this one is opening, the bottom curtain part of the shutter is already coming up. So all you're getting is a strip of the photo all the way up. So that's why whenever you see me doing flash with these, with my video camera here, you'll see kind of a strobing effect, which I'll show you just now. So if I do this, you'll probably see that there's a slight strobing effect where it doesn't show a flash on the whole of the sensor. But Nikon has figured that out, and they have made it so it can go beyond the sync speed, where it's going shot, 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 shot like that, and it does lots of pulses of flashes all the way up, and that's part of the FP mode. And that can be really handy if you're wanting to get really shallow depth of field with flash. So you've got a big aperture with flash, but you're in a bright location and you need to have flash. So normally you'd have to close down the aperture to keep it to 250th of a second, but now you can go up to 8,000th of a second with no problem. Obviously the power is totally reduced whenever you're going like that, because it's having to do lots of little flashes all the way up. So it won't work at full power anymore, but it will give you the opportunity to use flash at a fairly decent power, I would say. where in the past you wouldn't be allowed to do that, and especially with studio lights, you wouldn't be able to do that at all. So maneuverability, lightness, over studio lights I would always pick these. So light you can stick 3 in your bag and it's still your camera bag. It's not a full-on light bag. I think these are brilliant flashes. I can't recommend them more, pretty much. People always ask me, what about this studio kit, or what about these different lights and all that. The fact that these are built for Nikon, by Nikon, and the fact that they've just got so much technology in them that make shooting easier for you. Okay, I would fully advise to really read the whole instruction book before you try and figure out how to use this, because there is a lot of technology in it and it can be quite confusing. But in general terms, its shooting ability is just brilliant. I use it all the time for all my shoots. I have 3 of these just now. I got one which was refurbished from Nikon, and that one costs a little bit cheaper. That was around about 280 instead of 330. They're also pretty hardy as well. Because the actual flashing element is inside there, I have actually dropped these a few times. One of them was on a big light stand and the wind caught it and it fell, well, I say the wind caught it, I mean my light stand holder didn't keep holding it and it fell down onto some concrete. And that was a proper slow motion moment where you go, no! It's like, ah! I thought, no, that's definitely broken. But it was absolutely fine. Some of the LCD elements in it are a little bit kind of gooey just now, but it works absolutely fine and I can still read everything. So no problem whatsoever. The actual glass, the actual flashing element inside, no damage whatsoever. And the computer's absolutely fine. I also dropped one in the sea once where it went into some salt water and sand. I caught it just as it went in and rubbed against the sand as the water was going out. Pulled it out, went, oh crap, dried it out, didn't use it for about the next 3 days, but then afterwards, absolutely fine. No problems. So they're pretty hardy flashes. You've got no problem. If you're taking them outside in rain, what I would say is put maybe like one of those ice bags that you get. You know, if you're putting your chicken fillets in, put an ice bag on top because that's kind of see-through and you will still be able to control the other flashes with one flash because the flash will still be able to get through the chicken fillet bag. So yeah, a little bit more expensive than the sb-800 and sb-700, but it is a good bit bigger and a little bit more powerful. It's got more of a zoom, and for fitting into the Orbis ring flash, it sticks in nice and well there. So yeah, if you've got the money, I would say definitely get the best that you can, and the sb-900 is the best you can get. Hope that helps. Cheers. Bye bye. On the Nikon sb-900, which is the kind of the top range flash you can get from Nikon, and as you can see, it's got its PC, it's got its sync socket there, and it's got the extra bits for stuff in there if you've got extra power cables going in. Sensor is at this side, and the batteries go in there. The cold shoe locks in just like it does with the sb-800, nice and solid, but it's only got a plastic thread there, so that sometimes gets totally worn away. The head itself comes with a bounce card as well, and it is a much bigger head than the sb-800, if you look at the difference there. Definitely a bigger head. Rotation wise, you can fold it down and then down even further, so a little bit extra down. Rotation wise, you can go all that way or you can go all that way, so it's 180 degrees in both directions, which is much better than the sb-800, and it can go straight up as well. The autofocus help bit here, which is where the red lights come out of this, is much bigger as well, as you can see. Now on the back, this is where the sb-900 really comes into its own, because it's got a massive rear screen. It's pretty much like a computer here, and there's lots of buttons here, but the more buttons here actually makes it easier to work. The main one here is this rotation one here. You push it in, so it's either on, remote, or master. Much easier than going through the sb-800's menu settings to put it onto remote or just onto normal flash settings. And changing the master switch is much easier as well. Select and then rotate the dials to go through the different A, B, C or D. And if you want to change the actual setting, you go to, let's say, A, you click mode, and then you've got your different options there. Say you want it on full power, you can take it to manual, press OK, press the power M button here, and then you can just rotate that, get up to full power or no power. So nice and quick, much quicker to change the power here. And then select remote is nice and good. Now if you want to put this flash into an SU4 mode, you still have to hold down the OK button. Hold that down for a second. You go into the second menu levels, and you've got your how it depends on the aperture, how it depends on repeated, M for manual settings, I'm not too sure, and then you've got your SU4. Click on SU4, rotate it a little bit, goes to on, click OK, and then click this button for exit. And now you've got it on the SU4 mode, where you can change it so you've got it on auto somehow, or you've got it on the manual power, which you can easily change by pressing that button and rotating it round. So that's nice and easy. You'll also see at the side you've got a thermometer here, which is a temperature gauge, and that tells you if you're overheating not the flash, but the actual batteries and electronics inside it by trying to recharge too much. So now let's go see what it looks like on the actual camera. What we'll do is we'll take a photo firstly with just the pop-up flash. So we take a photo, and you see the pop-up flash isn't having any effect. That's because in the actual settings I've got it so that it is on dash dash. So we'll change that so it's on TTL and click OK. So we take a photo again. That's the look. That's the look that we're getting from this flash. If we put the pop-up flash off and put on the sb-900, as you can see, still in all TTL mode, it's a good bit brighter compared to the one before, and it's covering a lot more of the area. Now I'm shooting with a fisheye lens, and this flash would never really cover a fisheye. However, if we do put the bounce thing on, the diffusion dome on, and take the same photo, there it's pretty much covering the whole room, which is pretty darn impressive. Now when the flash is on the camera, we can change its mode, so we can even make it manual power. If we put it on full power here, and we blast the shot again, let's look how bright this is. That's really pretty much lit up the whole room there.